All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is groups. So in Logic, we have what's called groups located right here. In other DAWs, Ableton, for example, you'll find the groups term group usually means track stack. What they call in Logic is a group is usually refers to this folder structure where it collapses multiple tracks in a group or a bus. Using buses or a main channel that you can process all the other channels together. That's the idea. First key command of the day is Command S. No, I'm just kidding. So the first key command in order to make that summing track stack is Command Shift G. I remember this by Command Shift G for group, even though it's not called a group. So I hit it with my thumb, my pinky finger, and my pointer finger. So if I have these selected and I hit Command Shift G, it will create that summing stack right here. Also, to take tracks out, you need to click and drag and remove them, which is kind of weird. So groups in Logic are more to process multiple tracks together, even if they're not in a track stack, or even if only one of them is selected. So what that means is, what I'm going to do is give a demonstration with this little bluesy track that I'm working on. So I'm using the Drum Kit Designer, which is actually awesome. The Speakeasy Plus multi-channel kit, or producer kit, they call it now. So what that does is it allows you to expand, and it gives you all the different mics of the different drums. You can't record audio into these, so what I'm going to do is set up tracks, audio tracks, and show you the groups, what we can do with groups from there. So if I select all my drum tracks, we can see I have 15 selected. So what I'm going to do is hit the plus up here and create 15 audio tracks. I can do that. My field for how many tracks is already selected, so I can just type 15 and then hit create. Cool. So now I have all these tracks. I'm going to quickly rename these. Another key command. If I rename this by double clicking the track title, and I'm going to name it OH for overheads, and I hit tab here, it'll automatically go to the next track, hit tab, and then I can name it the rest. Let me quickly rename these. So I've renamed these tracks to match the source audio, which is all of my different drum mics. All right. Another advanced bonus tip. So what I need to do is all of these drum mics are going all to the same bus, which is how a track stack works, because then they all go into this Speakeasy group. You can see the input is bus 4 here. So what we want is all of these into their own different buses, and then set our new audio inputs to all those buses. So instead of renaming them or designating them one at a time here, like bus, whatever, one at a time, kick out, all that. Instead, what we can do is we select our tracks here, overhead, all the way to the hand claps. These are all my drum mics that are being created from the Drum Kit Designer. So what I can do is hit Option before I click the input of my first selected track. So we're going to cascade these, or waterfall, whatever I've heard that before. So we're going to automatically make these basically go in order, probably 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, without doing it one by one. Hold Option, click bus 4, still holding Option, then I'm going to click bus 5. And what you can see just happened is it went from bus 5, then to 6, then to 7, then to 8, then to 9, all the way up with one click. So then what I do is I go to my audio tracks that I just created, and I've named them appropriately. Scroll over here, hold Option, hold it, and then at the top, the inputs, I want to click and hold Option, click Input, and go from the bus, and you can see they're already named, and I click bus 5, the same one I started with before. And then you can see bus 5, 6, 7, 8. So now, if I hit play and set these to input monitoring, everything's aligned and set to record. So now, let's talk more about groups. So, I have selected all of my new audio channels that are receiving the drums that I'm going to record them into the timeline. So what we can do is designate a group by going to the group section in the mixer, clicking here and saying group 1 new. And then what you get is on the side here, a new group section that's not normal, that wasn't there before. And so group 1 for now. And so I'm going to take this out just for this example so I can make it a little bit bigger. So what a lot of people don't know is there are actually settings here. We can click this, and by default, I think volume, mute, and input are selected. So what I did was I deselected all of these and then went to the dot and said make default settings. I suggest you do the same, and here's why. All of these things, anything that's selected here, any track that's in that group, any of these things will edit at the same time for them all, even if you only edit one of them. So for this, I want all of them to record at the same time, the drum mics. So I'm going to enable record. And then if I go out of here, if I hit R to record on one of them, you see they all got record enabled. Even though I only clicked one record button, since I have record enabled here and they're all in the same group, they all record together. And the inputs are set to their own proper inputs. So now, if I go before here and hit R for record, every individual drum mic is getting recorded into its own audio track. Great, as you can see here, I have my audio. Quick bonus tip, this is the waveform zoom button. If I click this, it makes my waveforms look larger but not sound louder, so we can see and edit them. Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do now is create a take folder of a second recording to simulate a second take of a drummer in a song. And how we can designate that really quickly is the record menu, and then we go to overlapping audio recordings because we already have an audio recording. And we have two things. When the cycle is off, this is the cycle. If the cycle is off, I have it set to take folder. And then if the cycle is on, we want take folder. So what that allows us to do is create composite takes or comping, where we can have a little bit of take two, a little bit of take one, etc., to make the perfect recording. So now that we've set our overlapping recordings properly, I'm going to set my playhead here and then simply hit R again for record. Let's go like this. I want to make sure my content is enabled, and we'll record a second take here. Cool. And so because we had this setting set in record for overlapping take folder, what that is basically a little, what you'd say a folder, a collapsible and expandable region that has both of my takes in it. Back to groups. So what's significant about the groups and these settings is they're unique to each group. Here's an advanced workflow. We just recorded with this one, so I'm going to double click, rename this recording. So then record is enabled. Cool. So then what I can do is create a new group. We're going to name it editing. So you can see, since my default has all of them off, record is no longer enabled on this group. So if I click the first group, it's back. This is crazy. What that allows us to do is create groups by function. In addition to, you might commonly use groups if you have a good vocal balance of many tracks, like harmonies and stuff. You could put them in the same group, so when you change one volume, it changes them all. So the vocals relatively stay at the proper mix level, and you can move them all at the same time to adjust them compared to everything else. But with the settings and the fact that they're all individual allows us to do some pretty advanced things. So I'm going to say recording, editing, and then I'll enable editing. So you can see it disappears when I select my recording group. And then we can do another one. We could even do one for that volume workflow where we'd say volume. And you could even have drum volume if you wanted. You can go more granular, but volume. And then we'll lock the volume to this one. And so the idea here is you can put tracks in groups and take them out depending on what you're going to do. So we've just recorded, right? Cool. So we're done recording. So I'm going to hit R. On one of them, they'll all turn off. I'm going to select these newly recorded audio takes, and I'm going to go to the group. I'm going to right click. So I have these selected here. I'm going to right click recording and say remove selected channel strips, and then right click editing and say add selected channel strips. So now if I hit R, it should only do the first one. Cool. So, but now if I edit something, if I take this one, sorry, even if only one is selected, I have nothing else selected. But since they share a group and editing group, if I have one thing selected and I double click with my Marquee tool to split, they all got split because they are part of the editing group. And the editing group only has editing selected. So how this becomes powerful in this workflow here is how take folders work in Logic is if I expand one, they all expand because they're in the group. But visually, they get into these little gray areas and colored areas. So how it works is, okay, important consideration here. When working with take folders, we want to make sure our editing settings are properly enabled. So we go to the general page, the second tab, editing, and we want to go down to the bottom and make sure quick swipe and take editing click zones is checked on. What this does is, without clicking any buttons, when my mouse is in the bottom half of the track, so if this is the height, this is the top of the track, and this is the bottom of the track, of this track, when my mouse is in the bottom half, it becomes this little double line, and I can designate I want only this part of take one and the rest to stay the same. So if I just put my mouse here and click and drag, not only will it replace what we hear with the first take instead of the second take, right? So we can see they're all in the same group. So even if I have the first one selected and I put my mouse in the bottom half of the height of the track and I designate by clicking and dragging this part, not only does it automatically put this take one into what we hear, it adds a crossfade and every single take that happens. So if you're tracking drums and you want every drum mic to be replaced with a different take, this is an excellent way to do it really quickly. And then this editing group stays editing. You can even say that I want this part of this. Perfect. And then once I'm done editing, I select my tracks and right click, remove them from the selected channel strips. And then I can individually edit them. So now I like the volume. I like the mix of everything. So I'm gonna lock them to the volume, add selected channel strips by right clicking. So now, even if nothing is selected, only one of them is selected, I change one and they all change, keeping the mix locked in relative to each other. So that's groups. Interesting. The best part of the groups are these settings and the fact that they all can have their own settings, which is crazy. And you can copy settings and paste them into a new group. The next thing I want to talk about is folders. So this is a concept that I think is really interesting and I've never heard anyone talk about it. So what folders are is like a sub view. It's like a timeline like this, but you designate tracks to go into the folder, and when you look inside the folder, you don't see anything else. That allows you to focus on a specific part of the track or a specific group without having all the other tracks there visible. How folders work, you designate tracks and you add them to the folder. So what I'm gonna do is add my drums to the folder so I don't get distracted by all these other tracks. Let's assume there's way more tracks or whatever. So what I can do is right click and go to folder. Actually has its own menu. And I can go here and say pack folder. Cool. And you can see I have a folder here. I still see the tracks, but what we can do is double click the folder. And now I'm in my own little sub project view, right? And I can edit drums without seeing any other track. And then what this button actually does is bring you out. That's what it does. I was like, what does this button do? Leave folder? And then I looked into it and this is what it is. And then when you're done, you right click the region and then you can go to folder and unpack folder to existing tracks. Cool. So what I'm going to do is before I do that, it's kind of a cool feature. And I'll use the folders also to demonstrate, are a couple things, too small. So what I want to talk about last is one pretty niche tip for Logic, and then we're going to go through some key commands. So the last thing I want to talk about is the third tool in Logic and how that works conceptually and why you would want to do this. So by default, you have two tools, your left click tool and your right click tool, or command click tool rather. So when I hit command, right? So if I have nothing, it's the pointer tool. But if I hit command and hold it, it goes to this tool. That's how Logic works normally. So what you can do is in Apple operating system, if I hit control, which is this one, and hold it, and then left click, which is a single click, I get the same thing as if I would right click. And this works like for your whole Mac. So if control left click does right click, and so does right click, this is super nerdy. That means my right click action on my mouse, or it's double click on the trackpad. If I put with two fingers like this, it's the same thing, right? So that means my right click is redundant in Logic. So we go to the menu, Logic Pro menu, and we go to settings. So we go to Logic Pro menu, and then any of the settings, general page, and then I go to the editing tab, and then we have this section here, right mouse button. You can change what it does. So normally it opens the shortcut menu, but since we can access the shortcut menu by control left clicking, I set my right mouse button is assignable to a tool. So what that means is you get a third tool here, and then anytime I right click, it does that action. So the workflow here is, let's say I make the perfect comp with all these. This is exactly what I want it to sound like. I'm going to select them all. And again, I'm in my folder, so that's all I can see. I can hit Command A, and I'm in my folder, so that's all I can see. So I can hit Command A for all. And then I can left click on the letter and click flatten and merge. And what that will do is make them all a single audio region for each and make all the crossfades. It'll merge them together into one region. So now I have one region with a perfect take, a little bit of take one, a little bit of take two, etc. So the workflow I use for the third tool is I use default setup. Left click tool is pointer. Command click tool is the marquee, which is my favorite tool in Logic. And then for my right click tool, I change it to gain. And what that allows us to do is for audio regions, it's great for editing. So let's say I want this kick in, this specific one to be a little bit louder. I can hold command, grab my marquee, select this, and then right click, and it creates two cuts and enables the gain tool. And I'm holding my right click down. And I can go up and down. Let's make this a little bit louder. Sweet. And then you can like rip through these, right click, less loud, this one louder. It's really good for editing guitars, things of that nature. And let's say I've removed it from my editing group. So that way I can tackle individual drum hits. So super nerdy tool, but really helpful. So this tool is actually doing is it's changing the region gain in the inspector, but doing it from the timeline, which is really helpful and a lot faster. The less clicks, the better. Let's talk about some key commands. I have 5 key commands that I haven't heard that much that I think are pretty cool. So now that I have my perfect drum mix, I can exit my folder, right click, unpack to existing tracks. It's also in the folder sub menu. And then I can just command delete the folder. So command number 1 is select the inverse. So I have one thing selected like a region. And if I hit Shift I, what that does is it selects the inverse, which means everything else that's not selected. So kind of interesting. Next key command, this one's really cool, is the semicolon, which is right here. What that does is it moves all your selected regions to the playhead. So if I select everything and just hit the semicolon and colon once, everything I have selected jumps right to bar 57, which is where my playhead was. So if you have stuff that's not at the beginning and you want to just bring it all to the beginning, you could hit Command A, enter, or go back to the beginning, and then the semicolon, and it'll bring you right back to the beginning. Next one is cycle without rounding. So if I click this, see how the cycle range, which is looping, C for cycle, see how it's going all the way to bar 8, but my regions end at bar 7-ish. So if I select one and hit U, which is the letter U, you can see it grabs the cycle, but it's not exact. So what you can do is select a range and hit Command plus U. And what that does is you can see it made the cycle range perfectly to my selection, which was the region. The next one is great for when you're learning Logic, or if you're just a super nerd like me and you just want to get more details on any specific element or feature of Logic. What you can do is hover your mouse over any element or button in Logic, this volume slider for now. What that does is if I'm hovering over this volume and I hit Command ? What happens is the manual of Logic Pro comes up and it brings you directly to the manual of that element. And it actually sometimes gives you a lot of information. For example, if I load a compressor and hover over the threshold and hit Command ? You get tons of information about the different types of compressors, when you would use them, every single parameter and what it means. So if you're trying to learn, it's pretty cool to get a quick gauge lookup of that exact element that your mouse is hovering over, which is putting your mouse over the control but not clicking it. Okay. Last key command, last thing, super nerdy, is Option K. What that does is it's the key command for key commands. Look at this scroll bar. Most of these are not mapped. And you can search. So I could search region and I get all the key commands that come up with the word region. That's a quick way to learn how Logic works without reading the entire manual. Cool. Hope you learned something. Peace.